All right, guys, welcome back to Just Nuts. It is Thursday tonight, and we just got a bunch of new cards for Cyber Strike. Pretty much almost everything for the entire set, or maybe not. I guess they updated it, but before there's a little note that said there's only 2 cards left for the set that are not been revealed. I don't know if that's still the case because I just updated it and it doesn't have it here anymore, so maybe that's not the case. But anyway, this is just a small video because they did release some incantation cards, and I think they're really interesting. There is a bunch of cards, but I don't think a few of them are relevant. I'm going to go over them here. A couple interesting CYBERSE cards, a couple interesting incantation cards, and a few other cards that sprinkle into different archetypes as well. So the first card here, which is really cool for incantations, is called Incantation Celebrated Birth, which is a ritual spell, and it's a generic ritual spell. The second effect is a hard once per turn, and you'll see why. Stupid good. First effect says you can ritual summon a ritual monster from your hand. You must also tribute incantation monsters specifically from your hand or field whose total level is equal to the ritual monster's level or more. This is really interesting because most ritual spells are the opposite. Instead, they are locked to a specific ritual monster, but then the materials or the attributed monsters can be anything. But this says generically it can be any ritual monster, but the materials have to be incantations, which is fine. I mean, the way rituals are going to have to go at some point is with the incantations because they can generate you so much advantage and just get out the tribute materials so quickly for you. And then the second effect, which really puts this card over the edge, really amazing, is if this card is in your graveyard, you can send an incantation card, any incantation card except for itself, from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard to special summon any incantation monster from your deck, then add this card from your graveyard back to your hand. And the first effect is not a once per turn, so you could ritual summon, send something from your hand to the graveyard, bring this back, special summon an incantation, and then ritual summon again. So really, really powerful card with really strong recurability there. Just really good. I think it's just a really good generically. A lot of this stuff irrelevant. I'll come back to some of these. Let's go down to the other incantation card that's relevant here. We have Incantation Chalice Slime. It's a chalice, and then there's this goofy looking slime, Majin Buu looking motherfucker, sitting in the slime in the chalice's head. And it's a dark aqua ritual effect monster, level 7, 2500, 1800 defense. And this card can be ritual summoned with Incantation Celebrated Birth. And its first effect and second effect are hard once per turn. Okay, the line continuation fucked with me there. But the first effect says you can reveal this card in your hand, then discard a card, any card, and if you do, special summon an incantation straight from your deck. Wow. That's crazy because that's just crazy to me. Because that's so because all the ritual monsters up until now really didn't do anything until they got on the field. So you had to finagle the materials to tribute for them otherwise, not involving them. So it was kind of a brick in your hand until you got the materials out and then they could do something on board. But this card does something in the hand to get you going then. You discard a card, but you replace it with a monster on board, with an incantation. Really cool. Really cool. And then during the end phase of this turn, you lose 2,500 life points if you did not ritual summon after activating that effect. More times than not, you're going to be ritual summoning. That's what you're doing. You're setting up for ritual summoning by special summoning an incantation straight to the board. So not too worried about that. That should be fine. And the second effect says you can send one incantation card from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard to target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Nice little pop effect. But you can only use one effect and once per turn, so you cannot use his effect to special summon, then summon him and pop something in that same turn. So that's kind of iffy. If this was a quick effect, then this would be insane because then you could just summon him and you could quick effect pop something on your opponent's turn. That would make this card really, really good. But yeah, I still think it's a good card, and this card is particularly good. The incantation summoning card here. Ooh, where is it? There you go. Oh, there's so many cards here. These are kind of irrelevant. There were a lot of cheeky cards here, which come out in every set. We've seen them. There's a couple cards in here that play with life points, but it's not in a good way. But this card is really interesting. CYBERSE Wid Kid. It's a dark CYBERSE link effect monster. It's a link 2, 800 attack with a bottom and a bottom right link arrows, which are pretty good arrows. I mean, especially for extra link. If you're going for that, that's pretty good arrows for that. Takes any 2 CYBERSE monsters, so pretty generic, but does lock it into the CYBERSE archetype. And this card's third effect is a hard once per turn. First effect says this link summon card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. Okay. All right. And then the second effect says CYBERSE monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effects. All right, nice little blanket protection effect in unaffected by, or not unaffected, but indestructible by card effects. All of monsters it points to. That's pretty good, especially if you're going for an extra link, like trying to complete that. You're protecting the monster that's helping you get up into there. It's pretty cool. And then the third effect is the real doozy. If a monster is special summoned to your zone this card points to, while this card is face up, you can banish 1 CYBERSE monster from your graveyard to add a CYBERSE tuner monster from your deck straight to your hand. This is the good effect because you're already going to have a CYBERSE monster in your graveyard just because you used it to link into this. And special summoning is what CYBERSE do. They're a link deck, so special summoning to a zone this card has is really easy. And then you just get a free card to hand. It's just like a free plus right there. So that's pretty cool. Really interesting card. Really like the design as well. Good arrows and indestructible. Like, that's pretty crazy. Not very relevant. This card is the tuner that CYBERSE have now, I guess. I don't think CYBERSE have had a tuner yet. This will be the first one. We have CYBERSE Synchron, which is a dark CYBERSE tuner effect monster, level 1, 100 stats. And the second effect is a hard once per turn. The first effect says once per turn you can target 1 level 4 lower monster that you control, and it gains level equal to its original level until the end of this turn. So you double its level, unless it was already changed. Okay, little level modulation. Then if your monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect while in the extra monster zone, banish this card from your graveyard instead. That's the really interesting effect. It doesn't get itself on board, so that's kind of the iffy part I'm seeing here, but that's a really good protection effect. That's just like the Dragon Lords, the statue of the Dragon Lords or whatever, but in a monster form, and it's searchable with an extra deck monster. So interesting, really interesting. Next relevant CYBERSE card is this girl, Kathy Eve L2. It's a light CYBERSE effect monster, level 2, 800, 600 for the stats, and its effect is a hard once per turn. It says if this card is in your hand, you can target a level 3 or higher monster you control, reduce it by 2 levels, and special summon this card from your hand. This card's just cool. It just gets itself out of the hand really easily and modulates levels, so definitely could set up certain synchro plays for you. So that's all this card does, gets itself on hand really easy. Another CYBERSE monster that just throws itself on board. Interesting there. And then this card is really interesting for CYBERSE Fusion, which is Clock Lizard. So it goes with the Clock archetype. Clock Wyvern and Clock Dragon and all those, which is a CYBERSE Link effect monster. Link 2, 1200 with a bottom left and bottom zone. Takes any 2 CYBERSE monsters, and it says you can tribute this card to shuffle 1 fusion monster from your graveyard into your extra deck, then banish its fusion materials from the graveyard, and if you do fusion summon that fusion monster from your extra deck. This is pretty good. You pretty much just trade this for the fusion monster that's left the field already. So pretty good recursion card, because you're already going to have the materials engraved. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then if this card is banished from your graveyard, you can activate this effect. All special summon monster your opponent controls is 400 attack for each CYBERSE monster in your graveyard until the end of the turn. Not amazing, not a too relevant of an effect, but it definitely could help you set up for certain OTKs and stuff, getting over things there. And then the last CYBERSE card that's relevant is this guy right here, Detonate Deleter, which is a dark CYBERSE Link effect monster. Link 3, 2100 with a left, right, and bottom left arrow. Takes 2+ CYBERSE monsters, so he is all still locked into CYBERSE. And he says once per turn at the start of the damage step, if this card is battling, so it doesn't even have to attack, so your opponent has to be careful with attacking this guy. If he battles a face-up monster that is not a Link 3 or higher Link monster, you can destroy that monster. So anything Link 2 or lower, or anything that's just not a Link, this card destroys at the beginning of the battle step, or damage step, which is pretty good, I feel like. Um, I just think it's generically pretty good. Also, link 2, or second effect, once per turn you contribute one monster this card points to, then target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So, this card could just -2 your opponent in one turn easily, which is pretty interesting. Huh. I like it a lot. And then I had 2 more cards here. They don't really fit into arc. Well, they kind of do, but not specifically. Whoa. Okay. So remember I told you earlier there was 2 slots left open, and that's why, because they added them here at the end. These were not here before. But let me hit the 2 cards I was going to say first. So first we have Furaibu, which is kind of like a Thunder King monster. He's a Thunder King Ryo 2.0, level 4 light thunder effect monster, 19,200, the same stat line. Pretty nice at 1900 for a normal summon monster. And then both of his effects are hard once per turns. When an effect of a monster your opponent controls is activated, you contribute this card to negate the activation and destroy it. Okay, generic, just monster negate. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard at any time, special summon 1 thunder monster from your hand in defense position. I think this card's just decent in certain thunder decks like Thunder Dragons, maybe even just stun with Thunder King Ryo. You could negate a monster effect with this and then pull out Ryo to have that stun effect that he has, which is really interesting. So definitely an interesting card. We'll see where it goes. I just love that it's generically when he's sent from field to graveyard. So you could just summon him, link him for some summoner. I think that's what it is. And then special summon a thunder from your hand. That's pretty cool. I think he's a really interesting card. And then the other one here, the only other real relevant card of these, a lot of these are just really cheeky, is Rainbow Treasure Dragon, which is a Water Sea Serpent Tuner effect monster, level 5, 0 attack, 2,600 defense, with 2 hard ones return effects. The first one says if this card is added from your deck to your hand, reveal it in your hand and special summon it. Okay. Mermails. Okay. Dragoons adds any Sea Serpent monster in your deck to your hand. Okay. Add this guy, special summon him out. Then if this card is added from your graveyard back to your hand by a card effect, you can reveal this card in your hand and special summon it. But this time banish it when it leaves the field. So really good recursion card. You're getting a lot of value out of this card if you can just keep recycling it. If you can recycle it like twice in one turn, pretty solid card, I think, overall. Or maybe just as a one-of as part of the combo. If you can just Dragoons for this card, special summon it out, use it as material for something. It's also a tuner, so keep that in mind. And yeah, I think it's actually interesting. I don't know what kind of combos are available for it, but there definitely will be, I'm sure. Let's look at this card. This card looks like the interesting card here. What is this? Arc's really blurry, but it's here. Let's read it. No. Okay. We have Illusion Dragon Phantasme, which is a Dark Dragon effect monster, level 7, 2,400 attack, 1,800 defense. You can only use this card's names first and second effect once per turn each, so both hard ones per turns. If your opponent special summons a Link monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then draw cards equal to the number of Link monsters your opponent controls, +1. And if you do, shuffle cards from your hand into your deck equal to the number of Link monsters your opponent controls. Whoa, this card, that effect's kind of crazy. So you literally like Saryuja, because you draw whatever many Link monsters your opponent has, +1. So like against Gokis, you let them do the whole board. They'd set up, their 5 monster extra Link, if they're going for the extra Link at least, but like minimum, they're summoning 3 Link monsters. So you not only that, but you get to special summon this card. You can do this as a hand trap going second. Wow. So you would draw 3. Well, so let's say your opponent did 1 monster. Just had 1 Link monster. They Link monster 1 time, and then you go drop this guy, draw 2 because your opponent controlled 1 Link monster. You drew 1 and then +1. So you draw 2 and then you shuffle 1 back into your deck. Wow, that's a crazy card. That's a crazy hand trap. This is like Max C. This is like a pseudo Max C against Link decks. And then when an opponent's card or effect that targets a monster you control is activated, quick effect, you can discard 1 card, negate the activation if you destroy it. Holy crap, this card is actually good. This card's insane. Obviously, it's a little bit specific because it only really works against decks that do link summon. But, I mean, a lot of decks link summon. I mean, look at the decks right now. Sky Striker, Goki. I mean, obviously this card is like not very good against like True Draco or Altergeist, really. I mean, sometimes Altergeist, because sometimes they do need to link a little bit. And then what else am I looking at? Like Paleos, like Enigma Starboy. Not really. Oh man, this card is really crazy. Really crazy. This is definitely like this. I could easily see this card being like Pankratops level, where everybody just side decks this for like the right matchups. Going second, it's a pretty good hand trap. Very cool. Very cool card. And that's going to be it for this episode, guys. This little news video of me covering looks like the last of the cards for Savage Strike, pretty much. It looks like. Yeah, it looks like pretty much the last of the cards for Savage Strike, unless I'm wrong. Hopefully, maybe there's a few more, but wow, some craziness in some of these cards. We got some good incantation stuff, so a little more good CYBERSE stuff, and we got a few niche cards here and there that are pretty cool overall. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video and you want to see more news videos / other videos, I'm trying to work on deck profiles, trying to set up a setup to where I can record them, but hopefully I can get those out to you soon. And yeah, subscribe, please. Trying to make this a thing. Bye.